As you can probably see from my background, things are different. I'm moving right now, so this will probably be the last time that you guys see me with this background. So that's fun. Also, I'm kind of sick, so I'm sorry, like, if my voice is not that great today. I apologize. It's not my fault. I've just been moving. I'm too stressed, okay? Hey everyone, my name is Lena. This is the third video in my Closer Look series where I basically overanalyze the TXT universe and just tell you everything that I know. Today I'm overanalyzing Beomgyu's video, so let's go! I also strongly recommend that you watch the videos like in the order that I posted them, since I refer to things in past videos or I gloss over information if I've already kind of talked about it in a previous video. I'm operating under the assumption that you've already seen them, so go watch those first by clicking the card and then come back here. If you like these sorts of videos, please give this one a thumbs up so that I know that you like it. Anyways, let's go! Beomgyu's video starts off in the same way as all of them, a slow zoom in. Wearing white, the same as Subin, and notably not the same as Kai. So, someone commented on my last video and said that I forgot to mention that Kai is actually the only person in the entire questioning film series who's wearing yellow. Everyone else is wearing either blue or white. So I'm mentioning it now, you're right, I did not mention that, but that is true. Kai is the only one with yellow as his color. Anyways, back to Beomgyu. The flowers here are mainly white and pink roses and anemones. However, I have reason to believe that there are also red tulips and red poppies, and a lily there as well, and that's based off of what I've seen in the behind the scenes kind of on the Instagram. Mainly going to be looking at the other two flowers since they are the more featured flowers, although I'll briefly go over them towards the end. Pink roses, specifically the lighter shades, symbolize admiration, gentleness, and overall happiness, so they can be used while sending messages of sympathy. I imagine that this is a way to say it'll get better, in a gentle, soft sort of way, but that's just my interpretation. White roses, however, and yes, I think there are actually both white and light pink roses in this video, are usually associated with marriage, and therefore new beginnings, along with innocence and purity. However, it can, more somberly, be used in remembrance. Receiving one as a gift would mean that someone is thinking of you. Both shades of the rose have an underlying theme of like, I love you, though not necessarily in the same way. In Korean, they have similar meanings. The pink rose has been said to mean happiness, although many places said that there's actually a lot of meanings for the pink rose. I assume because of the different meanings for the shades of pink. Like, hot pink means something different than light pink. I also did see many places mention new love, specifically, versus just love in general. The white rose generally was also the same. It's used for a lot of formal events, but in general it means purity and new beginnings, namely because of the association with weddings in particular. However, in the Korean drama Cinderella and Four Knights, which I've actually watched and is really good, it is specifically mentioned to mean respect, as in, this is the kind of flower you give to someone who you respect. Not sure where this meaning came from specifically. I can't really find other references directly to that. I imagine it's probably an extension of why we use it at like formal events, because formal events are usually, you know, important and you show respect there usually. So I assume that's kind of an extension of that. In a more practical, tangible way, it's really interesting that they chose a rose for Beomgyu, since they're known to have thorns on the stem, even when the flower on top is very beautiful. The same can be said about Beomgyu though, because he has spikes, thorns, on his shoulder in the Nap of the Star music video. Beomgyu. Moving to the next scene, we are back at the flower clearing scene. We see Beomgyu holding the yarrow flower right by his mouth on the left and relaxing completely on the right, almost like he was taking a nap. Just a reminder, the yarrow flower means healing and inspiration, and the flowers surrounding him are orchids, which mean love. There's not actually a lot of information that I can get from this video that I haven't already talked about, so really the only notable difference is that he's holding the flower, which is totally unique to him, so. But I don't know what that means, so we're gonna move on. The next scene. Beomgyu has a butterfly in this scene, sitting on a light pink rose. We know that it's a butterfly and not a moth because of the way that it sits, because butterflies sit with their wings together and moths sit with their wings apart. Likely, this is specifically the mimosa yellow butterfly. And just as a reminder, the light pink flower that we see here again means gentleness and happiness. It does sort of center on the butterfly wings on the right side, and I'm pretty sure that we all can understand what this means. The wings are the most important part, and I think the human equivalent for where the location of the wings would be is probably the shoulders. And as I previously have mentioned, Beomgyu has spikes on his left shoulder. And I should note that it is actually the back of the shoulder more than just like the shoulder. It's also only his left shoulder. Not sure why, but I think it's very fitting because a butterfly uses wings not as a thing of beauty the way that we see it, but to scare things off. The patterns on wings can look frightening or intimidating to predators, and thus they are less likely to attack a butterfly. Wouldn't you think the same about spikes on a person? This is the same thing that happens with roses that are beautiful, but they have thorns. And I actually think that Beomgyu's spikes have only started to grow in and possibly might get bigger. I'm not 100% sure about that, just speculation. My main guess for this is because he seems to be living in some sort of like den that kind of reminds me weirdly of a cocoon, which is just like how caterpillars need to create a cocoon before they can metamorphosize into a butterfly. Fun butterfly fact! If a butterfly is too cold, it can't actually fly. They are literally immobilized until they warm up. It's also possible that maybe he was stuck there until he was somehow able to feel warmth. Possibly in a theoretical sense, though he was sort of like looking up and out as if he was hoping the star was awake again, and thus was only able to emerge once Yeonjun was found, or perhaps maybe even Kai found him first off camera before going and finding Yeonjun. If you think about it that way, it's possible that Kai actually went around and saved everyone before going and saving Yeonjun, or at least finding the others, since I don't know if they necessarily needed saving. In dream meanings, butterflies are a symbol of love, emotions, happiness, life energy, transformation, passion, and new beginnings. This matches up extremely well with his flower meanings. If you see a butterfly in a dream, it can indicate that your life will soon be going through changes. They also symbolize freedom in the sense that you can fly wherever you want. It's a little ironic because Beomgyu is trapped. But maybe he wishes he could fly away. I hope that he doesn't want Kai's wings. In a spiritual sense, yellow butterflies tend to symbolize happiness or sunniness, a bright future, sunniness, and hope. If a yellow butterfly flies around you, it brings peace and prosperity. However, interestingly enough, it seems that in some Western countries, if the first butterfly of the season you see is a yellow butterfly, it can indicate that your family or yourself will become sick. Likewise, some cultures believe that it symbolizes children who died young or mothers who died during childbirth, and some religious beliefs state that it's the deceased who are living peacefully in the afterlife. If you whisper to them, they will pass your message on to the people in your life who've passed away. And lastly, it can also symbolize resurrection and rebirth because of its metamorphosis from a caterpillar. Basically, depending on the culture, it can be a good omen or a bad omen. However, it seems that in general in Korea, butterflies mean happiness. There was one article in Korean that basically explained that a lot of the negative meanings seem to come from the Western religions or biblical meanings. More generally, butterflies symbolize wisdom, and apparently this actually stems from Buddhism, among other things. Next is the eclipse scene, which we are finally getting to actually witness as an eclipse. Beomgyu, who was orange, a mix of yellow and red in the concept photos, is half eclipsed. Kai and Subin were in the light fully, and you'll note that Beomgyu is noticeably half of the eclipse, like he's in the middle of it, especially compared to the two later, like after this. And it makes me wonder if Kai and Subin will perhaps have like one half of the story, or like one point of view, and then Yeonjun and Taehyun will have like another half, and then Beomgyu will sort of be part of both, kind of stuck in the middle, maybe. I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to see like more information on his storyline specifically, because of just how in the middle he seems to be. However, one thing that has chosen a side is the side where his flower is. Once again, it's specifically over his left shoulder. Obviously, this, like I said, ties into the spikes that also appear on his left side. The left side of the body is often considered to be like the more feminine side. It's a receiving side versus the right side, which is the masculine giving side. Also, I wanted to mention that the word anemone translates from Greek to be daughter of the wind, which just kind of goes with the whole feminine thing. The left side of your body in some spiritual teachings also signify the past, whereas the right side signifies the future, and it makes me wonder, is like Beomgyu somehow stuck in the past? More practically, your heart is on the left side as well, which is also like a friendly reminder that Kai's symbol is heart and his thing is heart. I don't know why Kai ties into Beomgyu so well. Kind of unfortunate that thorns are on the side of his heart though. The flower that he's holding here is an anemone, which, as I've stated before in Subin's video, has a dual meaning in English. In Greek mythology, it speaks of the arrival of spring breezes, tying in with the butterfly meaning, but also the loss of a loved one to death. Again, this ties into the meaning of the butterfly. In many Eastern myths, it's considered to bring illness, yet in European tales, it's said to ward off disease, so bad luck versus protection. I somehow feel like this was probably intentional because this is not the first time this has happened with Beomgyu. He seems to have a little bit of the shadow side and a little bit of the light side, and remember, he's orange, which is a mix of both yellow and red. An interesting note is that the light is actually hitting his shoulder only on the side where the spikes grow. Also, all varieties of the anemone are poisonous to a degree, though in the past they were used as a medicine, and this has been phased out because, once again, poisonous. Interesting note is that anemones don't actually have any sort of scent and they don't produce nectar, so insects like bumblebees are not attracted to them at all. I know I talked about anemones before in Subin's video, but I've actually gotten better at doing research since then and I found more information, so funny how you get better at stuff when you do it for a while. Huh. The next scene here is where Beomgyu sees his shape. Beomgyu is a diamond shape. Okay, more specifically, it's a rhombus, but in layman's terms, it's a diamond, okay? I'm calling it a diamond, it's fine. Once again, we get various aesthetic shots, one of which shows Beomgyu's neck. But honestly, it kind of seems more like it's on the left side, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's our shoulder shot. That would only make sense at this point. Maybe the editor or cinematographer just didn't think anyone would notice a small little tiny detail, possibly missing in one of the videos. They didn't expect me now, did they? Final shot is the same as always, a zoom out shot, now including the flower with Beomgyu gripping his shoulder. Once again, as I mentioned, we sort of get to see some additional flowers here. One is a lily and the other two are tulips and poppies. Poppies we've gone over in depth in Kai's video, so if you want to know about poppies, just go watch that video. It's, you know, it's good. So the red tulip, it just straight up means love, true love. Like specifically that one, just, it's the same in English, it's the same in Korean. Strong, passionate love, it's very straightforward. No wishy-washy, it might mean this, it might mean that, opposite. No, it just means true love. I like this flower. This is a good flower. Finally, the lily. I believe that this is the variety of lily called the stargazer lily. And yes, stargazer, like in Nap of a Star. Wow, big kids' minds, for real. Stargazer lily. Lilies are a common funeral flower. Actually, almost all of the flowers visible in all of the questioning films are common funeral flowers, which I don't know what that means. And generally, lilies mean innocence and purity. However, the stargazer lily in particular has its own meaning. This lily is actually one of the most popular lilies used in flower bouquets today, and it means ambition and encouragement with a difficult challenge, which I feel like ties in really well with the Morse code at the end of this video, which is hope. And this matches up with the translation of his TU photo card. We shouldn't give up hope because we definitely have a chance to make a change. One of the meanings of the yellow butterfly, if you remember, was hope. So, I'm gonna cry. Okay. Sorry. A lot of Beomgyu's meanings seems to be about change and transition. He's orange, which is, once again, the middle of the two colors that we see, middle of the eclipse, so he's half in the light and half in the dark. Oftentimes, I feel like in real life, going through change is an emotional thing. It's good because you get to experience different things and you're moving forward and it's something new and exciting, but it's also really scary and it feels awful sometimes and confusing and unsafe because you're just leaving behind the things that are familiar to you. You're leaving your comfort zone. But it doesn't mean that it's bad. Change almost always spells out something positive in the future. Like I mentioned before, I'm moving right now, and writing this script has really given me an entirely new perspective on it, I guess. So yeah, thanks Beomgyu. You did good. I feel like stupidly emotional right now, I'm sorry. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please like this video and leave a comment if you haven't already, as the interaction lets YouTube know that people are interested in my content, and it really means a lot to me. So likewise, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that YouTube will let you know when I post a new video right away. Anyways, stay sunny everyone. Until next time, bye! This is also the same thing with roses that have horns? Roses don't have horns, they have thorns. However, interestingly, I can't breathe through my nose. Some additional flowers here. One is an, what? I wrote orchid, but it's not an orchid. It's a lily.